first and foremost, right here, I'm thinking, all right, well, he's pretty big and strong. This is scary. No, I'm kidding. But but I knew, so if this is the second match, right? He is going to be bigger and stronger because we've had about four or so hours of uh getting ready for this match. So we're both bigger and fully hydrated. So it's going to be a slugfest from the get go. Uh, so yeah, big thing here is keeping my knees bent, staying in position. He's doing a great job, and we knew coming out. He lost match one. He's going to probably ramp his pace up a good 10-15%, especially in this early portion of the match, because he wants to have a good response. He wants to get on momentum and he wants to have a good answer. And the big thing again is, and he's doing a better job, I'd say, in that first 45 seconds of getting his, what would it be? His left hand, right hand, right hand. Yeah, it'd be his right hand to my head. And then boom, good underhook. But then I had a response with this arm spin here, just continuing to work through, came up out the back door and finished. And again, that's kind of what I was talking about earlier, where I don't get the arm spin, but we're in a new position that's gritty and ugly. And it's just being comfortable and focused on trying to score in that position. Super important. Uh, but yeah, I'd say right now he still kind of has the momentum in the hand fight. I just had a planned response to an underhook. Uh,
Mm.
but see right here, he gets it. He's getting his collar. He's pressuring real well. I would say I need to do a much better job of clearing out of this position. This is not a good response because from me, because he's really good in this position. I believe he scores the two here.
Yeah, the
Uh,
cutback.
and after he scores, even the walk back to the center, Medlin and Poeta are telling me like, "Hey, you can't allow that to happen. Like, if you're going to win this match, basically." They don't use those words exactly. Nice finish. Uh, luckily I was able to get my weird hips back down to the mat, so it wasn't four.
Yeah.
But again, so right here the adjustment has to be made where he keeps getting to this collar, he keeps getting to the ties, something like that, where I snap and then I get to my underhook now. Like this is a better wrestling position for me because at least now I'm answering and responding to the things he's doing hand fighting wise. I'm getting angles as opposed to getting on railroad tracks. So this is the type of match that I want, as opposed to here. This is more what he wants, right? And the focus right now and throughout this match has to be pummeling hard in these positions. Uh, here understanding that, hey, if you're getting pushed out, you got to know when to kind of stay low and get pushed out. Uh, I was able to keep my knees down and stay grounded. Although a lot of times referees they give you kind of a free pass, and then later in the match they might start dinging you.
Yep.
Uh, but that is the way the rules are written right now. So you got to have answers for whenever, hey, if I'm getting backed out, what do I got to do? But yeah, I'd say overall, I mean, he took it to me pretty good in this first period. Because again, right there, he's getting to his collar, he's getting to his underhook. It's a little too passive in this situation. This wizard position is not good for me. So and it makes sense. If the match ended right now, he won 2-2. So
Mm-hmm.
mid match adjustment, understanding that he's getting to my head or he's getting inside way too easy. So there has to either be I got to beat him to the punch or I've got to have a better response once there is. A couple times I did it, but the majority of the time he's doing that. And then underhooks can't happen. It's just on that guy. If he's underhooking you're just wrestling his match. You're probably going to get your butt kicked. And, it showed. It's 2-2. And he has last takedown. I'd say he's got a pretty good amount of momentum right now. But that doesn't mean that, you can't make decisions. Behaviorally, you can't change. And then right away, at least getting his arm longer here, right? Chopping it off, doing a better job of not letting that arm come in. And so
Yeah.
now the momentum looks a little bit more even as far as the hand fight goes. Uh yeah, and this is just better pummeling. This is just better hand fighting on my part. And for some people it might not look like it, but I am looking for attacks here. I'm looking for angles. That was just a good shot. It kind of came out of my position there. But only giving up 1 point is huge, right? Just fighting through the whole takedown. Uh, the hand fight, but like I said, the actual pace of the match looks a little bit more in line with how I want this match to go. In the second period, and a lot of times it's like he knows that, I know that, and who's going to be able to actually execute. That was just good timing, good shot. It's one of my better shots. Uh, I got to my position first. I got my hand set. He reached to try to hand fight. I caught him. I posted, finish. One of the big things on a guy like Thomas Gilman you have to do, and especially even at the World Championships with a lot of other wrestlers, you have to finish fast, right? That finish was I was in on a leg, I got the corner, and I finished. Uh, the big thing there is if you don't finish fast, I'm underneath him. He's got super strong hips. He's got really good reattack and counter offense and sprawls. You're probably gonna get ran behind on and scored on. Now these past two sequences again, uh, I needed to do a better job of resetting and getting back into the mind frame of that first 30, 40 seconds of the period. But right now I'm a little too passive and it's looking a lot more like that whole first period again, right?
Mm-hmm.
So need to regain focus, need to do a better job of getting back to the game plan and attacking them. Man, I'm like flinching already. Good shot on his part. And just limp knee out of that. That's a little Pat McNamara special right there. Trying to get me to do that for years. Uh, but again, here, this is just good wrestling on both wrestlers, right? Both guys are trying to get to their position. There's a lot of action. There's a lot of motion. Uh, he finally got to his position. He's doing a good job. Little bit of a single grab, but that's no worry. Now, I don't really think that I should have gotten cautioned on this situation.
Yeah,
But at the same time, I can understand why maybe they give the caution because we had kind of gone out a couple times already, one of several of which were grounded. So that makes sense. Now, here, again, there's a minute left in the match. I should have started the clock. Minute left in the match.
oh wow, yeah,
Uh,
I didn't notice that.
yeah, I just noticed it right now. I mean, I wasn't looking at the clock really at
Of
that
course.
point. And so I knew I had to really like start picking up my pace and start attacking. And some people think like, oh, do you wait till 30 seconds? No, absolutely not. You score when you can score. Here I'm looking for that underhook from the first match. He's making a good adjustment, understanding that's where it came from. And then right here, this is kind of what ends it is just uh man, I wish I could go frame by frame to see if that was for or not. But
Can we let me
uh
pull that back, Tyler? Can we pull that sequence back? At least watch it one more time. I don't know if we can go frame by
so
frame, but
the
we can at least watch it again.
Yeah. And the big thing here is when you're losing or winning and you're pressuring a guy hard, like a good response typically is to take a shot. And so just having good counter offense here, getting my leg back, not going to the waist or trying to step around, but going to his leg, and then good things happen.
That was four.
Yeah,
I
it
think
looked like
so.
four. Looked like he broke. Uh so yeah, I mean the main thing or the main lesson in that situation is just while you're being offensive, know that that guy can still shoot and be ready for it. And they're likely to shoot. Same thing happened with Suriano, right? Now here, man, I should have just if I just would have driven forward just a little bit, I really could have iced the match. But a lot of that too was me in that position, just kind of milking the clock mentally of like, hey, you know, I have the four now, so I can give up a two, and I know my parterre defense is really good. So now it's just again, it's holding position, circling, moving. Right. I think at one point I see his leg kind of reattack and hang in there, get my hands locked. You know, now I'm just worried about not getting choked out, and not getting pinched too hard, kind of hanging on for dear life and run out the clock. Even if I get two here, it's just being mentally prepared to wrestle and get going. And then that was the match. So overall, a really hard match is a really good match. I look at Thomas Gilman as a real respected competitor and a brother in the sport of wrestling. Uh, and that was just a good fight. A lot of those sequences is just good hand fighting skills, guys fighting and executing when you had to execute. Uh, and staying focused, trying to execute, trying to do the things you do, being offensive. I think the moral of the story too, watching him score his scores and my scores, the more you can really stay offensive and be proactive, the better the match goes in your favor, right? The last minute goes in my favor because maybe he takes his foot off the gas, not off the gas, but he maybe changes his tactics slightly and I ramp my pace back up, right? Uh, but it's also very difficult because most people would say that was a very high pace match from both guys. We're really slugging it out, and it's not easy to stay at full potential an entire match, even for someone like Thomas Gilman. So there has to be ebbs and flows of the match, and uh, for my sake, it happened to turn out the right way. But uh, that's not to say it didn't take a lot of hard work and commitment to get to that point, but I don't know. It's a really good match, really cool wrestling match. I'm glad Americans actually had something like that to watch at Final X because that was really cool. I mean, 8-6 is a really high scoring affair typically with uh, senior level hand fighters. Normally it's like
Mm-hmm.
a 3-2 or like 4-3. At the first match. Uh, and I gotta give credit to Thomas Gilman, man. I mean, he was bringing the heat that match, and I'd say a good portion of it was, him making me react to him. But at the same time, you've got to prepare to have an answer, not just defending what he's doing. And it showed when I scored. It was an answer rather than an actual prevention mentality.